Let's talk about the incredible life of Ajahn Lee, a Thai forest monk who became a true spiritual master. Now, his story isn't just about sitting quietly in meditation. Oh no, it's about facing down very real tigers, angry spirits, and maybe the scariest opponent of all, his own mind. Now, this piece of advice came from an old man who had survived a bear attack. On the surface, it sounds like simple wilderness survival, right? But as you're about to see, this idea holds a profound key to spiritual freedom. We're definitely coming back to this. So, Ajahn Lee's journey doesn't start with a halo over his head. It starts with a hustle. You see, he wasn't born a saint. He was a young man driven by a very, very worldly desire. His early life was pretty tough, shaped by hardship and a ton of responsibility. After his mother died, he became almost obsessed with making money. He truly believed it was second only to life itself. So you can imagine the surprise when at age 20, he gets ordained as a monk. It was a huge shift, but the path he found wasn't quite what he'd been hoping for. He found himself in this community of monks who seemed more interested in just having a good time. I mean, they were playing chess, wrestling, and even breaking major rules like eating in the evenings. This wasn't the path to enlightenment he was looking for. It felt way more like a social club. And honestly, Ajahn Lee was deeply disillusioned by it all. But that feeling, that dissatisfaction, it actually became this incredibly powerful catalyst for him. He started hearing whispers of a true master, a man named Ajahn Mun, who was living the kind of tough, ascetic life he craved. And a decision started to form in his mind. He had to find him, no matter what it took. And that was it. That was his point of no return. He literally told his family he was leaving for good, cutting ties with his old life to chase down a truly authentic spiritual path, even if it meant walking into the unknown, into the wilderness, all by himself. And wow, what a wilderness it was. The forest wasn't just some place for quiet contemplation. For Ajahn Lee, it became an arena, a place for a series of grueling, intense tests that pushed him to his absolute limit. The threats he faced were just relentless. We're talking about fierce tigers literally circling his tent all night, mysterious illnesses that left him near death. He even had to meditate completely alone in a cemetery right next to a burning corpse. I mean, these were very real, very terrifying dangers. But for all of those external threats, the most relentless enemy was the voice inside his own head. The pull of a normal life, of getting married, having a family, finding some comfort. It became this almost overwhelming temptation to just give it all up and leave the monkhood. He absolutely knew that to save his spiritual life, he had to go to war with this desire. He couldn't just ignore it or push it away. He had to confront it head on. And how he did it is one of the most remarkable parts of his entire story. Instead of running away from the temptation, he ran directly into it, but all in his mind. He sat in meditation and played out an entire lifetime as a regular guy. He imagined finding the perfect wife, the joy of starting a family, but then came the hard parts, bills piling up, sickness, the absolute tragedy of losing his wife, and then a really disappointing second marriage. He mentally lived through the whole fantasy, all the way to the end, until he saw with total clarity where it ultimately led, suffering. This mental rehearsal completely exhausted the desire, and it set him free. And as if the universe just wanted to give him one last nudge, 3 things happened in the real world that felt like cosmic warnings. He got yelled at by a fighting couple, he got no food on his arms round that day, and, my favorite, while he was daydreaming about worldly stuff, he slipped and fell face first into a mud puddle. These humbling moments just sealed the deal. The worldly path was definitely not for him. So, having conquered his inner demons and been humbled by the world, Ajahn Lee began to see the forest differently. It wasn't just a place of trial anymore. It was a living, breathing classroom. Every single sight and sound held a profound lesson about the nature of reality. And this brings us right back to that quote from the beginning. He learned about Maranasati, which is mindfulness of death, from that old man who played dead to survive the bear. The lesson was crystal clear. To overcome the ultimate fear, death, you have to let go of all resistance, all your attachments, and just become completely still. It's about spiritually playing dead to the ego's frantic, desperate struggle to survive. He saw wisdom like this everywhere. He would compare the wild rooster, always alert, strong, built for survival, to its complacent domestic cousin,
For him, that wild rooster was the perfect model for a meditator, constantly vigilant, lean, and ready for anything. It couldn't afford to be lazy, and neither could someone on the spiritual path.
And this was his ultimate epiphany. The real truth wasn't just hidden away in some ancient texts. No, it was written in the trees, in the behavior of animals, in the very fabric of the natural world all around him. Direct experience, he realized, was the supreme teacher. So after gathering all this profound wisdom from the forest, Ajahn Lee didn't just keep it to himself. In the second half of his life, he brought these lessons back to society, and he became one of the most influential teachers of his entire generation. His impact was just immense. He established monasteries. He taught meditation to absolutely anyone who would listen, from simple villagers to inmates in the provincial prison, and he worked tirelessly to replace superstition with a true understanding of the Dhamma.
Now, to give you an idea of the kind of influence he had, look at this number. This was the total income from a single festival he organized back in 1957. It's just a testament to the incredible support and devotion he inspired in the community.
And it wasn't just about money, not at all. During that very same festival, over 2,000 people, monks, novices, and nuns, took religious vows. This was a massive spiritual event, a direct result of his efforts. Even in his final years, while suffering from a serious heart condition, his humility and his drive to help others never, ever wavered. He was given high monastic ranks without even knowing it. He dictated this entire autobiography from his hospital bed. And get this, his last act was to raise money for the very hospital that was caring for him. He was inspired by another monk, whose body, even while it was in a coffin, helped raise enough money to finish building a bridge. For Ajahn Lee, his entire life, and even his death, was an offering for the benefit of all beings. So, we end where we began, with this really powerful idea. To free yourself from death, you have to play dead. It's not about giving up. It's about letting go of our frantic clinging to ego, to desire, to fear. And it leaves us with a question worth pondering. In our own lives, what are the things we need to play dead to in order to truly live?